Yeah, good evening, everyone. I hope I am audible. Am I audible? Okay, thank you. So, we hope that you guys have used the last 2 days for your benefit of revising the society, the 43 odd questions which we have done by revising the model answers given by me and correcting the answers wherever possible by you guys. I hope you did that. For people who have not done it, please do it. Okay. Don't postpone anything for those ideal days. The days will be moving on. Okay. If you postpone something, only your pending portion or pending work will be increasing. Right. So now today we are entering into new phase of this answer writing, new module, which is popularly called as social justice and development issues. Okay. So again, we have made elaborate effort to divide and micro divide questions topic wise and subtopic wise. If you see the PYQs posted by Ramana sir in the group, I have to let Jitender in. Where is Jitender? So if you look at the present module, which is the social development, it is further divided and micro divided into subunits. Questions are also accordingly placed into those headings. So again, a lot of effort has been done to make the questions as they are today for you. So good response. Regulars are continuously writing the answers, and I can see that there is slowly but surely certain improvement in the quality of presentation, quality of answer writing, and the understanding of the question. So for those who are seeing Google or model answers or toppers answers or answers in some websites and writing, it's okay. For now, you keep doing that. But as the time goes on, you should be able to write answers without seeing. Okay. So it will give you more confidence. By memorizing something in the website and then presenting as a model answer, it's okay for time being for people who are really new to this exercise. But as the time goes on, you have to analyze and write the answers on your own. The answers should have some innovation and nativity of yourself. Your brand or stamp should be visible on the answers. Okay, fine. On that note, let's quickly get into the discussion. So the main theme of the social justice or development is that you'll find questions are really big. Okay, you'll not get simply what is regionalism, what is communalism, what happened in society. This is part of governance sometimes, and also social justice and development. So the questions look very big and sometimes confusing, but don't go by the questions. If you try to understand the questions, the answers are very easy and simple for these topics. Because again, the issues of certain topics are still the same. From last 10 years, the problems with SHGs are same. It will not change overnight. But in the 10 years, there has been a lot of progress with regard to the development of SHGs, and there are many case studies that you should incorporate. Okay, 10 years or 15 years back, forming an SHG itself was a solution. But today, running an SHG is a challenge. So you have to be ready with that kind of case studies and examples. Okay. Again, go to the popular websites at national level, state level, see the SHGs, see how the government organizations are running in collaboration with the NGOs, see the involvement of NGOs, in what way they are contributing for the progressive development of the society. If at all, if some NGOs are criticizing the government, what is the theme of criticism? Okay, so all these you need to observe. Basically, it is all about the observations. When you can write good answers only when you are a good student and when you have a good observing capacity. Okay, so on that note, just look at the first question. So I think for people who have presented answers, almost everyone, I can see the names: Indu, Venkateshwari, Renu Reddy, Bhaskar. Okay, almost everyone I have, and then Navya. Almost everyone's answer sheets I have evaluated once, at least once. So again, we'll repeat the exercise. Okay, so we'll start with people whom I have done first. So I'll again start with who's, just give me a minute. You can just remind me if someone is repeating 2 days or like that. So first question we'll try to do from Sriram's book, Sriram's answers. So Jitendra's copy got downloaded first. So I'll do Jitendra's. Yeah, is Jitendra's copy visible to everyone? Yes.
Yes,
So see the first question. What is the first question? Is it matching with our question? Examine critically the recent changes in the rule governing foreign funding of NGOs under the FCRA Act 1976. So basically this question belongs to 2015. So they are asking you about 2015, but then there were certain changes in 2020 also. So for this question, you have to write the latest changes with regard to the amendments or changes in the FCRA Act. What is FCRA Act? Foreign Contribution Regulation Act. What is this act basically used for? It is used for monitoring and regulating the foreign contributions across India, and with sometimes special focus on NGOs. It is not only for NGOs. Basically, FCRA is applicable for anyone who's getting lot of foreign funds, okay, foreign contributions. Okay, see the question. Critically examine critically the recent changes in the rule governing foreign funding of NGOs under the FCRA Act. So basically you have to say what are the positives of this act, and then what are the shortfalls of this act, and then need for empowering the NGOs, and then conclude. This would be my answer. The moment you understood the question, basically the answer is the positive aspects of this act, the drawbacks, don't call them negatives because it's a government act, drawbacks of this act, and then conclude. Is it clear, everyone? And then the need for empowering NGOs, and conclude. That would be my model answer, or the framework. First, we'll try to understand the framework, and then the model answer will automatically flow into the framework. It's like a dye. Once you make the dye, whatever liquid you pour into the dye, it becomes like a hard shape of that particular dye. So when you have the framework in mind, the content is only coming automatically and fitting into that framework. So is the framework clear?
yes, sir.
Right. So the first
Yes, sir.
aspect of the question is the recent changes with regard to the FCRA Act. So he has introduced saying that India is the 6th largest recipient of foreign aid. Venkateshwari, what I am trying to say is the framework is, first we have to write the changes of the act. Okay, then the positive changes of the act, drawbacks of the changes in the act, need for empowering the NGOs, and then conclude. Okay, so the India was basically, is saying India is the sixth largest recipient of foreign aid, and in 2011 it continues to be. Okay, fine. Okay, why are you writing about 2011, Jitendra? It's a question in 2020.
Yes, I mistaken it. I referred old data.
Okay. You can write, okay, but your intention is good. You can write that FCRA funds have been received so many in the last 1 year, and India stands at this place. And a lot of funds have been received by NGOs also. Then what are the recent changes to FCRA? Okay, so basically what it does is, the FCRA, it makes the Aadhaar as mandatory for registration of NGOs. Okay, that is one important aspect of this thing, recent amendment. And then the transfer of funds is no more very easy. Okay, the transfer of funds has to be made only through the registered accounts across the banks. And once the account has to be registered, it has to follow the KYC norms. Okay, and then there certain, basically the first point, like not everyone is now entitled to get the funds from the foreign accounts. Okay, there are certain restrictions, and only identified accounts or identified personnel can get the funds from the foreign account. Okay, and then the transfer of, and the transfer limit, basically the previous was that 20% only can be transferred now, that is true for the administrative purpose. So basically for this you need to know the FCRA Act. Okay, only then you will know what are the changes pertaining to that act. So the changes which are mentioned are only specific to 2020 amendment, that is over and above the existing act. What were the previous allowed things, and now what are the allowed things, and if there are any restrictions, what are the latest restrictions is the question. Okay, and then what is the, now we have discussed the changes for FCRA Act in 2020. What is the significance of these changes? Basically, there has been continuous accusation on the NGOs that they are misusing the funds which are received from the foreign players to disrupt the administration in India. Okay, so that is one of the motive of the government, to channelize the funds and to formalize the receipt of funds. Instead of any black channels or hawala mechanisms, now they have to receive the funds through proper bank accounts. So everyone will know from which country and from which private firm or public firm the funds are received into the NGOs accounts. And then to strengthen the national security, because we all know that the global economy is now volatile and the global political stage also is volatile. In that context, the national security can be threatened by the flow of foreign funds, and hence the need of national security is ensured by tightening the mechanisms for the FCRAs. And then basically by bringing in the KYC norms for the NGOs and linking them to Aadhaar card, reducing the transfer limit and all, we are trying to bring in the transparency and accountability for the functioning of NGOs, because for long the transparency and accountability of NGOs has been a very big demand across India in the governance system. So these are the positive aspects of the changes to the FCRA bill. What are the drawbacks? Okay, Jitendra, you need to be more elaborate with your side headings. While your points are making good sense, you are giving significance, misuse, issues. So be specific. Okay, like I am taking class to you, you don't take class to the examiner. Okay. You
Yeah,
have
sir.
to be
I'll
more
make it as a
elaborate.
drawbacks. Yeah,
You
sir.
have to be more elaborate in your side headings. Drawbacks with the FCRA amendment. Okay, రెండు words రాస్తే తప్పేం లేదు. Okay, just put more energy, and then because people who are writing good answers should go to the next level. Don't get saturated at that level. Okay, good, better, best, and then beyond the best. So that is the aim. So now we are only still in the transition of average to good. So to go to best, it will take at least 6 months. So if you think good is okay, then you will again come back to worse. Okay, so next, try to go to the next level. So with regard to the issues with this amendment are, okay, basically the KYC norms, bank limit, these all affect the functioning of NGOs and supply their funds. So sometimes the NGOs are choked for money. They are in desperation for money, but they are not finding any money because now their administrative caps are now set 20%. So expenses are limited. And it is basically against the freedom of operation of NGOs. So is this being done to all NGOs or only selective NGOs is again an issue. NGOs sometimes are a voice of dissent. So the freedom of expression and speech is being suppressed. Okay. And there is lack of clarity as to on which NGOs this particular is applicable and not. So only NGOs which are against government or NGOs with the government, all these are not very clear with regard to the amendment of FCRA bill. And then you can conclude that NGOs are the oxygen for the civil society. NGOs are oxygen to the civil society, and they have to be taken hand in hand for better governance and to make sure that the governance reaches the last mile. The need of the hour is to ensure that all the NGOs are given enough freedom and space to operate for the betterment of the nation. Clear? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
See the second question. See the second question and take 2 minutes. So we'll try to see Sriram's answer for second question. Is the demand of the question clear to everyone? How can the role of NGOs be strengthened in India for development works relating to protection of environment? Discuss throwing light on major constraints. Anyone? Anyone wants to, before discussing the answer, anyone wants to speak for a minute? Yeah. Rajni, you got the framework, right? Everyone see the chat window. Rajni has given the framework. Role of NGOs in protecting the environment, examples of success stories, way to strengthen NGOs, constraints and way forward. Very good. Role of NGOs. How basically the framework of the answer is like this. What is the role of NGOs in protecting the environment? Give certain examples of some success stories. Okay. And then how to strengthen them going forward. Okay. And what are the drawbacks, if any? And then conclusion. Is the framework clear to everyone? Is it clear? Am I on mute?
No, sir. It's okay. It's clear.
Okay. Fine. So let's see the answer given by Sriram to this. How can the role of NGOs be strengthened in India for development works related to protection of environment? So here you need to give some solutions also, because they are asking you how. So you have to be you have to give some innovative solutions with regard to the strengthening of the NGOs in protecting the environment. Okay. Okay, the introduction, first 3 lines are very good. Instead of, you can say, filling of gaps, you can say they partner with the governments. Sriram. So
Yeah, sir. Yeah, sir.
we don't want to say that there are certain gaps in the governance and that governance is being filled by NGOs, because at the end of the day, NGOs are only social organizations, and their role more often than not is voluntary. Okay. So even if government engages them, it's not mandatory on part of government to agree to what they are saying. We can say they partner with the governments. It's a much better word. Okay. Or engage with the government.
Yeah. Okay, sir.
The role of NGOs can be strengthened by the following factors. So here, be specific with regard to the environment, Sriram. The question is,
Yeah, sir. I missed that point.
yeah,
Whole point of environment.
it's basically about environment. So
Yeah, sir.
collaboration and cooperation is a common point. You can use it in any sector. Okay, so environment also you can use it for collaboration and cooperation. And one of the very good way, because in this you are asked for solutions. Okay, if I were to write this answer, I'll use one point: involving NGOs in environmental impact assessment, EIA. How is that point? Involving NGOs in EIA.
It's good, sir. And it's a more concerning and contemporary issue of India.
Yes, because the EIA is being done by the district officials in presence like Janta Darbar. By involving NGOs, you will listen to various stakeholders and their legitimate concerns, and also NGOs can add some value to the discussion. So we can say NGOs can be part of the EIA, cooperate and collaborate. Okay, and if there are any relocation or any such issues with regard to any project, okay, then NGOs can help motivate people to understand the issue. And NGOs can be helpful in supervising the implementation of those projects. And also NGOs can be helpful in executing the project with minimal impact towards the environment. And they can be asked to be independent agencies to monitor the implementation of project and submit confidential reports to green tribunals. So it's all observations. See, these points, I have not made mock answer for this. I am just trying to recollect how the NGO can be involved in environment. What are the issues with regard to environmental challenges while executing a project? And then to address those issues one by one at various stages, how can NGO be useful? That's what I'm trying to think. That's all. The moment you think that way, everything will be in place. So you can write that, okay? And then major constraints for NGOs is lack of expertise, lack of funds, corruption, of course, and misuse of funds, no transparency, okay? And lack of manpower. So voluntary or social work is lack of manpower. Okay. So you have told the major constraints, you have given the environmental aspects of the NGO, and then you can conclude again for any NGO question, the conclusion can be more or less about the collaboration, empowerment of NGOs, spreading awareness, okay, involvement of NGOs. All these are the common things for NGOs and SHGs. Okay, you can conclude simply by saying NGOs, again, same conclusion you can of the first question, you can use for second question also. They are like the oxygen to the society, and they have to be more and more used for the collaboration for implementing projects and schemes of the government. And with regard to the environmental projects, which require larger consensus and also have direct implication on the sustainable development of the nation, NGOs with proper expertise and knowledge shall be used in appropriate ways and means to enhance the mechanism of protecting the environment. Is it clear? Sriram?
Yes, sir.
Bhaskar, did you write the fourth question?
Yes.
Okay, I'll do fourth question of yours. Did you write third question, Raghu?
Yes, sir. I have sorry.
Okay. What is the third question? Just take 2 more minutes for third question. And someone give me the framework. I'm just trying to put this answer above. Okay. Look at the third question and someone post the framework. I want the framework for the third question. I'm just putting the third question. Yes. This is the third question. The legitimacy and accountability of SHG and their patrons, the microfinance outfits, need system assessment and scrutiny for the sustained success of the concept. It looks confusing question, but quite easy.
So we can introduce the SFG's evolution and
Type
then we
it.
come.
Type it. Everyone can see when you type. And someone can copy paste also if they want. So let's make a practice of typing it. Type the framework. Yeah, Jitender, good framework. Jitender has given good framework. Yes, Bhaskar, you are also on the same line. Raghu, it's more about the uh, what has to be done to, we have to basically write about the issues affecting their legitimacy. Legitimacy means what? The continuity, and then the accountability of SHGs, and what should be done to ensure this. That is the question. Okay. Basically, it's about the legitimacy and accountability of the SHGs, and what should be done to continue them is the question. So your, yes, Bhaskar. So basically, SHG's definition is good and the good introduction is good. Okay. So basically, instead of problems of SHGs, you can write a side heading like legitimacy affecting issues affecting their legitimacy and accountability. Okay. What are the issues affecting legitimacy and accountability of SHG, so that the examiner will understand that you are trying to answer some part of the question. Okay. So obviously the points you have made are again relevant, but the side heading is a bit confusing. It's not problems of SHGs. These are the issues. Multiple lending, over borrowing, unknown borrowing. Okay. So these are definitely causing the accountability issues, because same SHG is borrowing from multiple banks, and in case it is getting bankrupt, many banks are getting issues because of that. They are being affected. Okay. And then of course there is some unknown borrowing, or popularly called as ghost borrowing. Okay, we don't know where the SHG is based. Simply they are coming and taking loans and not paying back to the banks. It is an issue. Okay. And then when such things are, unknown borrowing is happening, the issue is with the recovery towards the bank also. Banks get affected. Okay. And when they borrow, again the point is relevant. The lack of utilization of funds. The funds being borrowed are not being utilized properly. Okay. Sometimes they are diverted for some personal issues also. So the formalizations of SHGs, many SHGs is not there. Okay, there is no consensus among the SHG members for spending the borrowed amount. Okay, and then many SHGs are very small scale, and when they borrow, they want to take the money to take their business to next level, but the money is not sufficient. Okay. And then yes, I have seen that most of you have brought the Malegaon committee. Okay, good that you people remember Malegaon committee, because it's a very old committee, and it has suggested some good innovative ways to make SHGs more legitimate and accountable. Okay. So what was the suggestions given by this committee are sufficient moratorium period. What is moratorium period? If you take loan today, the bank should not ask you money from tomorrow. So there has to be some time for the SHG. Like for example, you take the education loan, you are given 4 years moratorium to complete your engineering or degree, and then you have to pay the interest in between, not the principal. Similarly, moratorium should be given for SHG loans, and SHG loans should be disbursed as soon as possible without having any serious clauses or objections to them. Okay, and then giving, basically SHGs are group of individuals and not an individual itself. So amongst SHG, if someone is coming in the name of SHG, we should discourage such loan disbursements and give loan only to the SHGs. And we have to avoid multiple lending. So for that, we need to link the SHGs with the KYC norms, and if possible, the SHG should be related to the Aadhaar card, so that if SHG is taking money in State Bank, the same SHG without fulfilling the obligation at State Bank cannot take loan at the Andhra Bank. So that kind of mechanism should be there. Okay, fine. And then what are the government initiatives towards, sorry? And you have written what are the government initiatives. Okay, you can give some examples. Okay. And basically we are supposed to give the issues and solutions. So you have given another dimension of government initiatives. Okay, but the government initiatives you have mentioned in a very small way. It's good. You can talk about the Ajivika scheme, which is now one of the main schemes to support SHGs. It gives the skilling to SHGs, and if required, it will give proper access to the funds. Okay, and it brings more number of people into the SHG domain and thereby try to self-sustain it. You can mention about the Ajivika. Okay, it is one of the main schemes for SHGs. Why are you mentioning Deen Dayal Antyodaya Yojana?
For improving this budget.
NRLM. Fine. You can mention NRLM, National Rural Livelihood Mission. Okay, it is now coined as Ajivika. Right, Raghu? You know, I hope you know it, Ajivika. Okay.
Okay.
And you can conclude by saying the SHGs have been very significant. In SHGs question, always make it a habit to write a case study, please. Even here you can write and one of the very popular, boring but important case studies, Kudumbasri. You may like it, 10 people may be writing it, but then one of the most popular SHG, which is successful model and a model which is being emulated across the country, which is being tried to emulate, is Kudumbasri of Kerala. You can write that example as a case study in every SHG answer, because every year our SHG question, only one question will be there. So for that question, you write Kudumbasri, Dwakra, or Lizzat Papad. Lizzat Papad is an SHG. You can write such examples and case studies as to how these SHGs, when they are accountable and they are properly legitimized, what kind of success they achieved. So write an example and then write the way forward. Way forward, like you can say that SHGs are basically created or encouraged for poverty mitigation and to empower women in the family and also bring the grassroots political democracy by providing proper funding and creating proper mechanisms to monitor them. The SHGs can be taken to the next level and may be converted into MSME units, medium scale, micro, small and medium scale units, which can help in poverty mitigation and financial inclusion and also women empowerment of the India. Clear?
Sir, is that much necessary for a 10 marker 150 word answer? 5 or 6 dimensions of an answer.
Okay, I am just giving a content. Okay, I am giving the content, but the conclusion can be just, you can say 2 or 3 important dimensions of empowering the SCG. But then even if it's a 10 marker, if you write a case study, you will always have the edge, right?
Yeah, sir. Anyway, we are giving the committee suggestions, no, but particular way forward is not needed, right?
Okay.
Implementation of that committee can be
Malegaon committee suggestions. You, in your conclusion, you can sum up that committee suggestions in 1 or 2 lines. Clear?
Yeah, sir.
So
rather than government initiatives, we can go with a case study.
Yeah, instead of government, if it's a 250 word, you can write both government initiative and case study. Since it is a 150 word answer, you can write simply the case study and then conclude in your own language about the Malegaon committee recommendations.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir.
But always make it a practice for SHG, write a case study. You go into internet and keep searching for successful SHGs, you'll get tens of examples, and try to maintain that examples and see the quality of your answer will increase and the dimensions of your answer also will increase, because each and every case study is very unique. So similar question about the SHGs, basically NGOs, SHGs, the questions are always on the similar lines. So as I told you, when the questions are similar lines, the challenge comes to the innovation in the presentation. So that's why I'm mentioning the case studies to be included in SHGs. The penetration of SHGs in rural areas in promoting participation in development programs is facing socio-cultural hurdles examined. Socio-cultural hurdles. So what do you mean by socio-cultural hurdles? So what the question is saying is, for SHGs to penetrate into villages, there are certain socio-cultural hurdles. What are they? Give the framework, anyone. Good one, Bhaskar. Okay, decent approach. Yeah, Rajni, fine. Rajni, did you write the fifth answer? Okay, we'll do yours for the fifth. So fourth, right? The penetration of SHGs in rural areas in promoting participation in development programs is facing socio-cultural hurdles. Basically, you need to mention SHGs in one or two lines, and then how many SHGs have penetrated, what is the impact of SHGs, and then what is the socio-cultural hurdles they are facing, and then the need of the hour or the way forward. Okay. Good. So the introduction is a fact-based introduction. So here Bhaskar says 67 million Indian women are members of 6 million SHGs. Okay. And then there are informal groups with similar socio-economic background who have voluntarily come together for collectively performing on the common purposes. So very crisp and to the point introduction, good introduction. So as I say, for me, side heading should be elaborate. Okay, don't make side headings which are like as if the examiner is your friend. So socio-cultural hurdles faced by SHGs. Okay, so be a little bit more elaborate in your side headings. You are highlighting the side headings, most of you, it's a good practice. Underlining keywords, it's also very good practice. But with regard to side headings, be more elaborate. Jitender, now Bhaskar, okay? Let me look at my model answer. Okay. So basically, what are the socio-cultural hurdles being faced by the SHGs? Okay, feudal societies. Okay, basically many at the village level, at the rural level where the SHGs are formed, are even now controlled by landlords and upper castes. So basically that is one social issue, because the poverty and the SHGs are coming from the women who are belonging to low caste or low class, economically weaker sections. So the feudal mindset is a very big obstacle in these SHGs to perpetuate or grow into the next level or to get into the developmental programs. And obviously the patriarchal mindset of the Indian society doesn't allow women to get empowered and then get into the next stage of taking up the development issues, because women is entangled in various responsibilities within the family. Okay, and then the social differences. Yes, the social differences across the caste, religions, and even the gender differences which are existing in the society are a very big issue with regard to the SHGs turning into the next level mechanisms in implementing the development programs. Okay, and then many women lack the support of the government, support of the families. Okay, they are not supported for taking up next roles or bigger roles in the society. And you can write no political empowerment, and then the panchayati pati concept, which is very much prevalent in the local self-governments. Okay, and after certain point, the SHGs are not having proper skilling or guidance to take them to next level. So the upscaling of SHGs is not there. Okay, the upscaling of SHGs is not there. So that is one issue. Okay, and the root cause for the stagnation of SHGs is lack of political empowerment. Okay, one of the root cause for the stagnation of SHGs is lack of political empowerment. So what should be the need of the hour? Before need of the hour, can we again mention some case study? We can say, okay, after need of the hour, let's mention. We can say when SHGs are given proper empowerment, proper economic resources, proper social respect, and also the culture of women going out and working can change, it is seen that many of the SHGs have actually made a very big mark in the landscape of Indian development. And further, the programs to support the SHGs financially with regard to skills, okay, and also the political empowerment for women at the grassroots level need to be given to support the SHGs. Example or case study. Again, write Kudumbasri. Kudumbasri is a very classic example of how an SHG woman went on to become the panchayat presidents or sarpanch of at village level. Now today they are SHG members and also politically empowered. So they are playing multiple roles of mother, daughter, okay, and maintaining their families, earning income for their families, and also solving the issues of the society and also developing their surroundings. You can again mention the example and then conclude by just summing up the measures or the way forward you have given. Whatever you have whatever you have written in the need of the hour or the way forward, you sum it up, in the measures, whatever you have written, just sum it up saying that, hence, by giving proper resources and facilities and proper empowerment, it is seen that SHGs can go a long way in implementing the development programs. That's all. Clear? Yes, please. Clear, or you have any doubt? See the fifth question. Emergence of SHGs in the contemporary times points to the slow but steady withdrawal of state from developmental activities. So it's a question which says that SHGs coming in is state going out. Examine the role of SHGs in developmental activities and measures taken by the government of India to promote SHGs. Again, very straightforward question, but the initial statement is likely to confuse you. What did you understand from the first statement? Do you agree that with coming of SHGs, governments have retreated from the development? Do you agree that with the coming of SHGs, government has stopped its focus on development? What, Rajni? The role of government is to facilitate others to take over. Is it so? First of all, is everyone agreeing with the statement of the examiner? Just because that fellow is from UPSC, you'll agree to whatever he writes? Tell me.
They think disagreement or agreement doesn't matter, right?
Why do you think so?
Because examine the role of SHGs in the developmental activities and measures taken by government of India.
But you
So he
should
gave a
certainly,
statement, nothing but to
yes,
like tone of the answer, right?
he is trying to confusing you. Okay, he's trying to confuse you. Very good. Okay, so examine the role of SHGs in developmental activities and measures taken by government of India to promote SHGs. But somewhere in your introduction or conclusion, you should politely and respectfully disagree with the examiner.
Sir, yeah, okay, but anyway, we will do that such kind of things while like examine, like discuss or analyze kind of words. We will do that, no, sir. He's just
Yes.
mentioning a statement randomly and
Yeah.
asking us to examine the next question, and the question is given after it.
Yes. So that statement is not the direct question. You will not address the statement in your core part of the answer. Yes, is it clear to everyone? The statement, the first two lines are only to confuse you. It says that SHGs coming in means government going out. It is never like that. SHGs are supported by the government. Okay. And SHG is part of so many developmental activities of the government. That is what we have to tell the examiner. No institution, voluntary or involuntary, can take the place of government. If that is the case, why is district collector required? Simply an SHG can run the district, right? So we have to mention that somewhere that boss, SHG is just part of the larger government. Yes, directly in the core part of the question, we will not answer it. Bhaskar will not write because he is not saying the examine the statement. If the question is about the examine the statement, then we will write the pros and cons, and or else we will try to analyze how government is responsible for bringing the SHGs and how SHGs cannot displace the government because the government has a larger role in implementing the development activities, the schemes, etc. All these are government initiatives, and SHGs cannot displace the government. That will justify. But here the question is not about that statement at all. Yes, of course, we will try to politely reject it in conclusion. But the question starts with examine the role of SHGs in developmental activities and measures taken by the government of India to promote SHGs. So give some examples of SHGs or case studies of SHGs which have participated in the developmental activities. So fifth question. Rajni, so you got, I think you have answered more of the first part, which is actually not the core demand of the question. And you have come to the core demand of the question in the second part of the answer. By the time you have consumed one page. So that was a trap, and the trap was set, and you have answered for the trap. Understood? He is randomly giving some statement. Okay. So role of SHGs in developmental activities. What are the various roles in developmental activities? Someone can, you can simply, you have written very good points here. Okay. So it can mobilize women from rural India, because basically SHG is to bring women into the development platform. So it is mobilizing women in India, and it is creating socio-economic benefits. It is bringing them into society respect. Previously, they were unemployed or ill-treated in the families. There is a social promotion, or there is a social treatment for them, and also economic benefits. Because of the SHGs, their poverty is being mitigated, because they are collectively now able to earn certain revenue or income and run their families with this economic benefit. And then definitely entrepreneurship. Many SHGs you can write: Dwakra Mahila, Lijjat Papad. Wherever you know the examples, keep writing the examples for SHGs. It makes a lot of impact on the examiner that you are writing what you know instead of what you read. There is a difference between writing what you know and what you read. So what you know comes from experience, what you read comes from memory. When you are writing entrepreneurs and then examples like Lijjat Papad, then the examiner will have, oh, good. So she or she knows what is the SHG entrepreneurship. Okay. And then you can write how SHGs have improved the health and status, health and education of women, and agricultural and non-agricultural activities and employment. Good. And SHGs have helped in developing the financial inclusion and also mitigating the poverty of many families. And they have definitely able to be in address the issues of caste discrimination at the rural areas, because some of these SHG women have gone on to become politically empowered, and the caste discrimination against the lower caste has reduced in the villages. And then you can come to the measures taken by the government to promote SHGs. And obviously SHG bank linkage program, which was under the supervision of NABARD. Good example. Loans to SHGs. The scheme of Ajivika, NRLM, National Rural Livelihood Mission, Priyadarshini scheme. Okay. MKSS. And then initiatives like Kudumbasri in Kerala, Dwakra in Andhra. All these are ways and means to promote SHGs and make them successful at pan-India level. And in the conclusion or the way forward, you can certainly disagree with the examiner here. While the SHGs are definitely making lot of, where is the question? Yeah, this is the question. The SHGs are definitely making rapid strides in implementing, in promoting the developmental activities with the help of government. They have to be much more hand-holded, and the need of the hour is that the government has to ensure that the spread of SHG is not confined to certain pockets of the country, but across the country, which can strengthen the rural economy and also the empowerment of women. So when we are saying the government has to handhold the SHGs, we are saying that SHGs are not above the government. So the question says, the first part of the question says, are SHGs displacing the government? When we are saying that government has to handhold the SHGs, because if you see all the popular case studies of SHGs are mostly in the South India. In North India and the rural, that Hindi belt of Bihar, UP, the SHGs are still not penetrating. And that's what we want to say, that yes, SHGs are definitely playing good role in developmental activities. Please take them to pan India level. For that, government has to play important role. As simple as that. Is it clear?
Yes.
Okay. Any doubts with regard to today's session?